Why, hello everyone, and welcome back, because today we're looking at Come Deliverance 2 Steam, where it has a 93% positive rating, and that's fantastic.
And the drinks are on the house.
But we don't really want to deal with that, because, you know, it's always a good party and everything else, but we want to take a look at all the crazy stuff that kind of goes on. What about the other 7% reviews? What do people actually say? Well, I never said all the reviews are going to be ridiculous great, but anyways, there are so many negative reviews on here to see about this game, and a lot of these reviews, they're kind of like, what is this? You got doo-doo, sorry, what the heck is going on? A lot of these times, some of these reviews don't make sense. Some people actually have good. If you know, you know. Like, sometimes, what do you mean if you know and know? Come on, buddy. And then, like, there's a purely great, I guess, or purely good. I don't know. 132 hours. How do you even come up with this? Nah, 156 hours. I don't understand. But anyways, join along and we'll see. Reading a bunch of negative reviews about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And we'll try to rate how valid they are in the long run.
Henry! Get up!
Well, this one's a gold mine here. The game forces you to talk to a Frenchman. Well, we did something to the Frenchman earlier. This might make you happy. Something weird. So there we go. What is going on? Look at that. He's just getting tossed into the air.
Fantastic.
Go give him a drop. And it, like, he just gets launched into space. It's the French space program. Yes, we developed a 1403 French space program. So that's great. But then again, I guess that's a reason to make a negative review. Not all the negative reviews I'm going to show today are off-kiltered, but, you know, this one I can sort of understand. I want every second of my life that Warhorse is wasted with the sack-carrying missions returned. Honestly, there is, probably in the beginning of the game, there's probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 if we count bodies as part of sack carrying all around. So, you know, I can see why people are very annoyed, especially with the bells tolled. There's sack carrying as well. And for some reason, somebody got the green light to allow Henry to be carrying sacks around, or the Peshek point of view simulator. So, I mean, the sack carrying wasn't bad enough to leave a negative review in my own mind, but apparently other people get really annoyed by it, and I can sort of understand. But I give this take maybe a 5 out of 10. It's not the most egregious one I've seen. This next negative review is kind of odd, especially when they say that it's full of bugs. I don't think so. You played 147 hours. It's really not that full of bugs. I really have to try stuff to get it. I mean, there's Henry drinking with a cup like that, without a cup. There's some really weird stuff going on, I'll grant you that, but nothing that I ever find too egregious. So there is a huge patch coming up pretty soon that's supposed to have like a ton of fixes, so we could see that a lot of those things get fixed. But for initial release of the game, honestly, I had a really good time and nothing really broke too much. Just strange things happen, but I see that they have like 140 hours. They probably seen some strange things, and they're holding the game really to a really high standard, so I can't really blame on there. But I give the take, you know, without any evidence here and there or suggestions, probably like a 4 out of 10. I mean, you finished the game pretty much, I assume, so we'll see. And really, I have to, you know, if we're just speaking about bugs, like, I really have to try to make things happen here, so they really fixed the game up from Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. So, it's a world of difference. So I'm a little biased on this. I think they did a fantastic job on that, but 4 out of 10 for me on that. This next one is related to bugs and everything else. So basically they're saying, watched a woman hack the man to pieces and then started sobbing. I picked up the sword in front of her and she immediately stopped crying and went for the guards. And we got committed for a crime. Yeah, sometimes there are strange things that happen. I think the crime system in the game is probably what the thing that needs the most fixing here and there. It really didn't bother me too much because then again, I'm always wanted for a crime, so I didn't really care. But everybody else, you know, I could see this being kind of an annoying issue here. So if the other person kind of gave better details, saying instead of full of bugs and be like, hey, this specific bug, then I'd be like, yeah, go for it. You know, that's probably like a 6 out of 10 kind of setup. You know, it's kind of annoying, especially trying to play good boy Henry, but, you know, either way, this gave a specific sample. I'll give you a 6.5. I mean, you tried. 7 out of 10 maybe. So weird things happen. Again, this next one is basically talking about it's unplayable or buggy sort of deal, and this is just showing gameplay off of here, what I had live streaming before, and I was getting these weird delays back and forth, and really it was just with my Nvidia card that I need to update my graphics card. So I don't know about this. I don't think it's unplayable, especially since you finished the game or got a lot of hours in it, but there's definitely some things you could change and make it a little better here and there. I give that review a 4 out of 10. This next review is talking about how the combat is garbage. It's kind of hard to say if it's too hard or anything else, because they got 98 hours in there, so they might have beat the game, but this might be coming from someone that played Morehouse or Bannerlord or something like that, so they're more used to directional combat and a little bit more here and there. Where this combat here in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 kind of has more repose, kind of position yourself, and also Master Strike's just overpowered. But without more info, I can't really give them a fair review other than maybe, you know, 3 out of 10. You gotta know more about this. But anyways, the next review here is talking about a person that's saying that they're a little bit too old for the game and they want to make the game a little bit easier for them or have a difficulty slider for them. And I gotta be careful on this because really I find this game easy, but then again I'm much younger and I play the game quite a bit. I play Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. So really, I mean, maybe modders can find a way to, you know, allow people to play the game a little more, have a difficulty slider here, make things a little bit easier. That would be an interesting thing to put in there, so especially for people playing the first time. And I don't want to get too deep into the debate about, like, should a game have difficulty sliders at all, because I know, like, Dark Souls has that whole debate of, like, it's a Dark Souls game, it's supposed to be hard or whatever else. So beside that point, maybe some modders can help out people, try to find a way to make the game a little bit easier for everybody. That might help out. I give those kind of reviews, you know, I'll give them a 7 out of 10. They seem pretty fair for the most part, but they could be worked on. And this continues on with the combat, and this kind of goes close to my heart right here. 20 times hitting someone with a sword, and he just punches me to death. Like, what the heck? Yeah, like, look at this. Basically, you got 2 naked guards just pounding on me, and I can't even, like, switch my weapon out to attack them. So you're just getting stun lock non-stop. So I could see where people actually deal with this, and you know, it's just insane. So look at this. You're just getting gangbanged for a long time. So it's not even great. So I give that a nice, you know, 6-7 out of 10. They could do more on that. This next one is pretty popular, I would say. I was seeing on negative reviews for the bell tolls. It seemed a lot of people did not like that quest. I only put 2 up here, but there's a lot I've seen on there for whom the bell tolls. It's a timed quest that you gotta go and save Han's Keep on. It's also one of the scenarios where you actually gotta haul up sacks of charcoal up to the blacksmith or into the shed, whatever it is. You don't have to do that. You can go wild and do anything else you want to do, but this is one of those quests that a lot of people just did not like. Also, it kind of drags you through the castle, that you gotta go through the castle that's a huge maze, and you gotta avoid guards. It's almost like a stealth mission, if you want to say. There are ways you can actually get a sword and start fighting people and doing whatever else you want, but honestly, this is probably why it was so unpopular, because a lot of people thought that you have to kind of stealth it all the way through to actually save Hans. So as the quest goes, there's multiple ways to achieve the same goal. A lot of people just figured that they have to stealth it, and that's part of the part of what makes it so difficult for the most part, because a lot of people don't mess with stealth that much. I'll give these negative reviews on this, you know, probably like a 5-6 out of 10. They're sort of valid, but then again, you know, I almost want to say, you know, oh, it's just you gotta know how the game's played. But then again, I think the real issue is that people keep trying to force their way to play a certain way, or they think that they have to do the stealth to complete the game, or that they have to just fight through everybody, because there's a slight panic that you know that you gotta go because the bell's tolling and everything else. So I think this was probably one of the more challenging quests in the entire game, but I don't think it's a bad quest. So really, I kind of give these, you know, negative reviews like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. You know, the quest is not that bad, but it's, you know, it's a difficult one. Alright, so this next negative review I sort of agree with, but I think they can kind of fix this. It's kind of, I'll explain. So he's talking about the long marathon of tutorial, and I think it's really well done if you've never played the game before. it's pretty great for the most part. It kind of helps you explain a lot of the basic combat details, a lot of how things work and what you can do, because there's a lot you can do in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, it's incredible. If you haven't played the first one before, you're probably not going to be familiar with the system and all that. So if you're a new player, they're trying to teach everyone off here. What I do hope in the future is that they come up with something to say, like, here's how you can skip the tutorial, takes you back to the center of town where you start at, and you're on your own way. Because honestly, it is a big slog. I have this thing speeded up, but if you were playing it just normally, just without skipping anything else, it's like 3-4 hours long before you actually get loose on your own. So I mean, you can speed run it to get a little bit faster, but it's definitely a slog for the most part. So is it bad? No, there is a good purpose to that, but I really think is that there needs to be a way just to skip ahead, and then you don't have to deal with this every time. It's great the first time. I don't need to see it a second time and all that stuff. So if there were a new player giving that negative review, I would be like, okay, there's something wrong with the tutorial. But I really do think the tutorial kind of sets stuff up. But then maybe, I don't know how they can kind of mesh this to go a little bit faster and keep telling the story and, get people caught up. It's a really challenging thing to do. I think they did a really good job, but it's a really big slog. So add a skip button and I'll be much happier. Anyways, I give them a 5 out of 10. It's a slog for sure. I'll give you that on there, but it's not as bad as I would say. I wouldn't stop playing the game. They basically had only 4.6 hours, so they could have just kept going.
Don't be such an old woman, Oates. Bring some wine to warm our blood.
Yeah, this next review, Hans is what used to be such a cool guy, now he's a jerk. Honestly, I kind of feel the same way, because in the first game, he started as a jerk, I understand, and then he kind of got better, but now he's just kind of gets you in trouble, and all you have to do is keep saving him the entire time. So it's, I'm not a big fan of this Hans. I understand it kind of helps the story move stuff along, so I understand that, but I feel like, you don't have any great quests to kind of bond with Hans anymore, so I wish there was something like that in case, but right now, it's just meh. I mean, it just feels kind of a letdown with Hans, because like you said, he was the homie and really good to be. I mean, he could be a jerk, but he could get better. I mean, he did kind of have an apology in the mid-game, but, honestly, it still was kind of disappointing.
I understand. You're annoyed.
Henry. Where's Captain Zizka?
He got held up.
All right, I could see their point of view on the peak cinema. Like, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has some really good cutscenes here and there, and I actually really do enjoy them when you get them all throughout. And especially in the second part of the game, second half of it, you have some pretty interesting things that happen here and there. Is the gameplay boring? No, but I feel like there's a lot of cutscenes that come out there, and it kind of slows down the actual adventure that you're having with Henry. So I think maybe if they could spread them out a little bit here and there, that would work out, because especially when you start the second half, it feels like you just get hit by one after another, and they're really enjoyable. But when you have this adventure going on, you're just like got that adrenaline going on, you're just like, damn, I didn't come here to watch a movie, I came here to play a game. So I think it kind of just changes the speed of the game. I could see where people are off of there. I don't know what he means by boring gameplay, but I could see that's probably where it is. So I'll agree with him, peak cinema. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10 for that review.
It's away. I can't hold on much longer.
This negative review kind of made me laugh. Basically, it's referring mostly to this mission with the woodsman to get his horse back, take him around on your back while he's drunk as hell. It's sort of silly for the most part, but I could see that it's a pain in the butt to deal with. Is that even though you have the markers, you can see up there, I'm walking towards K. It's still kind of like not exactly where I'm supposed to be at. It's kind of more of a general yellow area. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. You know what? It's totally fine. Anyways, I enjoyed it, so the review, at least it was specific. I'll give him a 6, 7 out of 10. At least he kind of pinpoint what he didn't like.
Happy!
This next review, I gotta say, I gotta sort of agree with this. It's only 1 hour review, so I don't understand how this works out. But Mutt, just needs to calm down quite a bit. You can call him to heel and get him to shut up here in this case, but honestly, a lot of times when I was playing the game, you would just have the dog just constantly barking or either slopping up water, and it would drive me insane, especially when I'm just trying to organize stuff out of my chest. So they need to tone it down a little bit. Even though you only have 1 hour in, that kind of negates this opinion, but I think they need to tone Mutt down. So I'll give it a nice 8 out of 10 on this one. I agree. Mutt, you need to calm down, buddy. These next 2 reviews are pretty constant negative reviews you'd see on Come Deliverance 1, and now it shows up in 2. This is talking about how the save system with the savior snobs, or possibly not having an auto save feature. So I see this a lot, and you know, I know how the save system works, and I'm totally fine with it, but I could see where having a mod will probably fix this out. For anyone that sees this negative review and it's a problem for yourself, download a mod to actually have unlimited saves or auto saves that are featured on there. So it's totally fine. I could totally see where these reviews, I kind of give them a valid sort of deal. It's totally fine. Download a mod, that will work out. I don't think the devs are going to change the savior snobs anytime soon.
Henry? What are you doing here?
This next one seems more of a troll kind of post than anything else, but I'll take them at their word. It's mostly, if you see negative reviews about Musa, it's always about this guy here. It's really not that bad. Like, honestly, like this guy says, you know, I met the guy, what you guys are upset about. I totally agree. There's nothing to be upset about Musa. He's just another character that shows up. He has some interesting dialogue here and there. It kind of just gives a different perspective in the world at the time, but it's really not anything that I see that's makes me mad. Was he forced into the storyline somehow? Maybe somebody forced it. I don't know. But currently, if I didn't know any better, I would just be like, you know, it's another character. I'm totally fine with it. And I think that's going to do enough for all the negative reviews right now. There's about 4,000 right now before the pre-patch that they're going to have, or the first big patch they're going to have for the game. And, you know, a lot of these small things that people are mad about, they could be fixed. So I'm excited about that. But honestly, the game's really good. It has about 93% on Steam. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment currently where the game's at. So some of the, you know, I feel like a 9.2, 9.3 is what Come Deliverance 2 kind of gets my rating after finishing the game right now. It's a really well done game, and I think the patches are going to add in there, and also the accumulating DLCs are just going to make the game that much better. So I can't wait till then, but hopefully this was fun, and I hope to see you all around next time. Have a good one, and goodbye.